Welcome back. Now, when it comes to writing effective copy, there are three phases: research, writing, editing. And if you ask me, the most important one is the research phase. And it's also the most time consuming. But if done well, everything after that will become super easy. And you will be able to craft super powerful copy because you have fully understood your prospect, the market, your competitors, their weaknesses, the gaps in their messaging, and you're now able to position your product or service in a way that makes you stand out and captures the attention of your ideal customer. Now, here at Digital Marketer, you have a very powerful tool, which is called the Customer Avatar Canvas. And while many marketers teach you, pretty much all the marketers will teach you how to create a customer avatar, this particular framework is the best I've ever seen, especially due to a section which is called the before and after grid. The before and after grid helps you ask the right questions to really understand what the life of your prospect is like before buying from you and what transformation takes place in their lives through purchasing from you. It's super effective, super powerful. And if you would only do that alone, the training is available here on Digital Marketer. Go through the training, create your customer avatar canvas, and by that alone, you will be, ahead of pretty much everyone else. But what I like to do is to do a few things first before getting started on the customer avatar canvas. And here's why. If I just start working with a new brand and I get right to the customer avatar canvas, I will base my answers to the questions on my own experience and my own assumptions. But wouldn't it be much stronger to actually get the answers from your ideal customers and ideal prospects? Wouldn't that be way more powerful to be able to pick their brains first and then gather all of this information and now go to the customer avatar canvas and fill out the before and after grid and all the other sections to finalize your ideal customer avatar? I believe it is. I believe this is the more powerful way to do so. And that's why I'm going to show you in the next sections what I do first before getting to the customer avatar canvas. Before I let you know about the various research methods that I like to apply, I just want you to understand, I'm not saying you should use all of them every time. It depends. You may be in a niche where it's super easy to come across information. Pretty quickly, you may feel like there's not really anything new you're coming across. So stop. Just get to writing. You're all set. But a different niche may need more research because you may not come across information that easily. So it's useful to have more methods to be able to dig deeper when necessary. Also, if it's your own brand, it's a good investment to spend a lot of time to really dig deep to understand the minute details about how your customers and clients think, what they want, what they secretly desire, what their fears are, their frustrations and everything, and how they express all of that, what words and phrases they're using. But if you're working for somebody else, it really depends on how much you get paid for that project. If it's just a small project paying you a few $100, is it really worthwhile to spend 40 hours on doing deep research? No. So you dig a little bit, you use one or two of these techniques, you get the idea, and you write your campaign. So what I like to do before getting started on the customer avatar canvas is to speak to previous customers, interview them. I like to find out what the problem was that they were experiencing. And if it's the same problem that I think I'm solving for them, or is it maybe a different one? Does it have a deeper dimension? And that's crucial. I make sure, my assistant conducts these interviews for me via Zoom with willing participants. So I have really trained her to always ask why, repeatedly. If you ask a question and the customer gives you a response, ask why. And then ask why again. Why is that important to you? Why does it matter to you? Keep asking why until you get to the core of the matter, because that's what a power is. And I have prepared a questionnaire that you can use. I'm sure it will be provided to you. The link is probably somewhere below this video. Um, and you can also assign it to someone, maybe an assistant or an employee who can conduct these interviews. And once you have maybe spoken to like a dozen customers, you have a good pool of information to go back to. And now if you fill out the customer avatar canvas, you don't answer the questions based on your own assumptions, but these are the actual answers that your customers gave you. So it's much, much more powerful. But I don't stop there, even though I could, even though this is really the gist of the matter. I like to see what else I can find out. The second thing I like to do works especially well if the brand you're working with has a Facebook group, a private one. But even if they don't, this still works. I get myself a list of 30 customers, the top 30 spenders. And I get inside the Facebook group and I look for them, look for their posts, and figure out what they have to say about the brand and the product. Next, I go to the private Facebook page and see what they are publicly displaying in terms of what posts are visible, what do they post about usually, what are they interested in, what books, movies, or artists do they like, where do they comment, and also what their profession is. And that information will help me write an email later on, because it's very important to write with one person in mind, and that is your ideal customer. That's why we do this whole customer avatar stuff, right? But this kind of information really brings that person to life. And if you have this information for not the top 30, I do have a list of the top 30 spenders, but you won't find all of them in a Facebook group. You'll find probably a majority of them, because those people will also be usually the most engaged customers who would go ahead and join a private Facebook group. But you should find at least 10 and gather this information and get an idea of, if you kind of melt all these people together, like mold one person out of these people, who would that be? What would that person be interested in? What kind of music do they listen to? What kind of books do they read? What kind of artists do they follow? What kind of topics do they post about and care about? And this information will be super useful later on when you create your customer avatar canvas. What do you do if there's no private Facebook group? Well, you still have your list of 30 top spenders, and all you need to do is to find either their Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn page. And that should be easily done for at least 10 of them. And then you do the same thing. See what they post about, gather the information, and collect it in a spreadsheet. This will help you create your customer avatar more accurately. What I like to do next is more research. You guessed it. So what I do is I head over to Reddit or to similar forums. And I look for subreddits where they are speaking about products or services that are similar to the one I'm trying to advertise through my emails. And there are a few things that I really try to look for when I'm going through those posts. First off, I'm looking for emotional statements. When people are sharing their stories, what kind of stories do they share? When they're talking about their typical days, um, for instance, there may be somebody who has chronic pain and is speaking about CBD products that have disappointed that person, right? And I really try to look for the exact way they express themselves. If there is a typical jargon or some terminology that they use when speaking about that niche or niche, however you like to say it. Um, and I gather that information, and sometimes the most effective subject lines or leads, and we'll talk about that later on, but the most effective ones are just given to me within those forums by people who speak about it in an authentic way, by people who are experiencing some sort of pain, um, or who just have specific desires that I can fulfill through the product or service that I'm offering. So that's super powerful. Look for unique benefits that maybe you haven't even thought of yet. Or again, emotional stuff and funny stuff, and look for stories and look for terminology. Gather it all in a spreadsheet, and it will be a super powerful asset for you when you actually get to writing. You can dig even deeper and gather more useful insights by taking a look at your customer reviews and testimonials, and just figure out what people love about your product and service and what they don't. But pay extra attention to the way they express their opinions. What words and what phrases are they using exactly? If you take that and just mirror that back in your copy, that's pure gold. Once you've done that, head over to your competitor sites and just do the same. And when you do that, make sure to look for what people are complaining about, especially when it's an aspect where you think your product or service does a much better job. Use that in your copy to overcome objections and also to establish your unique selling proposition and to stand out versus the competition.